The program I'm going to introduce today actually dates back to one of the first serious programs I ever wrote. You see, back in high school, I was heavily involved with the FIRST Robotics Competition. It's a little bit like BattleBots, except instead of fighting each other, the robots mostly just stacked boxes and such. It was fun, but it's still a competition. Every year, a completely new game is announced in January, and then the high school teams have about 6.5 weeks to design, prototype, and build their robot. And then over the course of the next several weeks, there is a series of different competitions at a district, regional, and finally championships level. So here's where my program comes in. If you know more about potential outcomes, you can make better decisions. What are the key matches? What are the possible permutations of the rankings? These are important questions. We need answers. So way back in 2014, I made a little system for match prediction, and it borrows a little bit from chess. Chess tournaments face similar questions. Huge skill gaps are frustrating to both players, which creates a need for ranking systems. The most known chess ranking system was created by Elo. Let's break it down. A chess match has 3 possible outcomes: a loss, a win, and a tie. We can assign these results to numeric values, and then we give each player a score. Based on the difference in scores between players, we can predict an outcome. Then, we adjust the scores based on the actual result. In this way, the system learns. We'll get back to the nerdy details a little bit later. I want you to understand the kind of pressure I'm dealing with here. I would like the app to be up and working by the time the first competition starts, which is in a week. I'm not worried too much. We're making progress. You can see here, this is my coding environment. It's running in the command line here, and you can see the API endpoints are working. We have one for all the events, and we get the prediction scores, and then next tab, and then one that delivers all the event information. I'm running Python and Flask, and the database is running in PostgreSQL, and everything seems to be working together really smoothly. This has been like my little pet project for years. I've written versions in Python, Go, Rust, and back to Python again. And it's not just the programming languages that have changed, I've also made some changes to the algorithm over time. Chess may have 3 outcomes, but we have more information in our hands with the robots: a score. In the same game, we can assume that a win by 100 points is stronger than a win by only 2 points. The largest alteration I made from the original Elo rating system was to base everything on margins rather than outcomes. Each year's game has a standard deviation of scores, so each score margin difference ends up on a normal curve, and we can turn that into a number. Take the expectation and the actual results, and voila, learning can occur. Of course, it would be impossible to get any of this to work without some kind of data, and fortunately, this is perhaps the easiest part. It's already been done for me. There's a wonderful open source project called the Blue Alliance that's been collecting data on FIRST Robotics matches for over a decade. They've already done pretty much all of the pre-processing, plus they have an API. So all I have to do is write a database, get a script to fetch all the data, and then I can just grab a coffee and wait, because it does take a little bit of time to download. Understandable. Now, for just a minute, I think it's important to mention some of the limitations I'm putting on myself for this launch. My natural way of thinking is a little bit out there. I have way more ideas than I know what to do with, and I often can go down chasing rabbit holes that maybe aren't the best use of my time. So I'm just focusing on getting something published, and I wanted to do 2 basic things. 1, predict match results, and 2, simulate the rankings. On the initial alpha launch, we'll probably only have feature 1 done, but then after the next couple videos, I'll be working on feature 2. In the next video, I'll be talking about the front end and some of the tools I'm using to put that together, and I'll be working toward launching the app. I'm super excited, can't wait.